トビデオ
If you've been checking on what's been going on with me right now, you do know things haven't been going all that great. Aside from, well, you know, everything. I'm currently in the process of getting out of a stage of burnout that really took a hold of me all last year. Now that I'm in the process of making a better production schedule for myself to allow for a more efficient turnaround without sacrificing needed R&R, I think I'm mostly out of the woods at this point. But that's not enough. I need a good on-ramp out of this holding pattern of exhaustion, and that is something that can best be done by revisiting familiar territory. And what else is more familiar than the franchise that pretty much inspired this show? Welcome back, lovely angels. It sure has been a while. For those of you in need of a refresher, Dirty Pair is a sci-fi franchise centered around the lovely angels, Kei and Yuri. They work as trouble consultants for the company 3WA. The job description is exactly what it says on the tin. There's trouble, and they solve it. Whether it be bringing a fugitive to justice, thwarting terrorist attacks, shutting down a rogue AI, or dealing with mutant sewer monsters, the lovely angels are there to put a stop to all the trouble and look smoking hot while doing it. But even though they often solve the case at the end of the day, they will usually do so while racking up massive collateral damage, leading to their unofficial nickname, the eponymous Dirty Pair. Dirty Pair is the franchise I will recommend to people looking to get into retro anime. Not only is it stylish in that specific retro way that everyone likes, but it is also a great episodic adventure show. With a through line of lighthearted action and a far future interplanetary setting, there is no shortage of stories you can tell with Kei and Yuri. They can be in techno thrillers, spaghetti westerns, locked room mysteries, and comedy of errors, and they would not be out of place whatsoever. This is key to understanding their popularity. While the TV anime was cancelled near the end of its run, the fandom for it was so massive that Sunrise not only was able to finish it on VHS, but also net the series a blockbuster movie and a short OVA film, both of which also got positive reception from fans. Sunrise had to keep this train a-rolling, and the best way they could do that was to give Dirty Pair a second season. Which they did. Sorta. Dirty Pair the OVA, better known by its localized titles of Original Dirty Pair or Dirty Pair 2 depending on the time and place, is exactly what the doctor ordered for wanting more Dirty Pair. If you've been keeping up with my thoughts on the Dirty Pair franchise after the TV show wrapped, you know that they have been mixed. Dirty Pair Project Eden, while looking nice and big budgety, squanders its potential by taking the lovely angels' IQ points down a few pegs and committing the unforgivable sin of sidelining Yuri, while Kei gets to frolic with Sir No-Name Carson de Carson among the bland industrial corridors they spend most of the film in. And Affair of Nolandia, while staying true to the lovely angels and their overall dynamics since they were going for something more novel accurate, nevertheless ended up with a plot that was too bland and stretched out to be as memorable. But now we get to the next installment, a 10-episode OVA that acts as a second season to the TV show. The lovely angels are going on a series of episodic adventures in multiple locales and genres. And wouldn't you know it, it actually might be what I've been looking for when I wanted more Dirty Pair. It is a true baby bear's bed of a Dirty Pair product, stylish and outrageous while staying true to the core strengths of Kei and Yuri's dynamic. It's what I really wanted the most out of another Dirty Pair. But we can't just leave it at that. This video only got started after all. We're gonna get really thigh deep in the glamour of this OVA series and see why it might be peak Dirty Pair. Once again, nothing much to report on from a production standpoint. All that you need to know was that this production was gloriously funded by both Dirty Pair's parent company Sunrise and a home video subsidiary of Nippon Television Holdings Inc. called VAP, a company who is a major funder of anime productions these days, but up until Dirty Pair, were mostly known for helming distribution for Lupin the Third and producing that weird Super Mario Bros. Anime. what kickstarted this anime was most likely fan demand for more Dirty Pair, since that's the most obvious answer. But I've also heard that the series was made to bulk out the original Dirty Pair TV series for Italian broadcast. I can't find a citation on that one, so please don't quote me on that. The Dirty Pair OVA was described as wanting to give viewers a new taste of the Lovely Angels. So, in the spirit of that marketing bullet point, some changes were made to the Angels' status quo. The design of their ship was changed, which at this point had become a tradition. The whole dynamic of 3WA and Eleanor City had also been changed, the former leaning more into a Secret Service bureau dynamic, and the latter feeling more like an actual organic city rather than all the action happening around Damocles Tower. And the complete removal of the Lovely Angel's little droid, Nanmo. Though considering how Mugi can run the ship just fine by himself, I think Nanmo's absence only highlights his superfluousness. They also fill out more of the 3WA staff in this OVA. Not only does Chief Ghoulie get a more expanded role from just simple mission control to stressed out police chief, but they also give us characters like Dr. Q, who acts like his namesake to the Lovely Angels in providing them gadgets for their mission, and Madame Beryl, an old lady veteran of 3WA who is all but said to have been Kei and Yuri's mentor who taught them everything they know. But the change everyone talks about is Kei and Yuri's change in uniform, switching from the silver and gold hot pants and vest combos to the black and white ensembles that shows considerably more flesh. They might as well be wearing their underwear because we have both hip windows and butt cleavage. The animators are savoring the leap from TV to OVA for all it's worth. I would say that was the purpose of original Dirty Pair. Let's do what was done in the TV show with a Project Eden flair. Director Katsuyoshi Yatabe did not work on the TV show, but he was a unit director on the movie, and I think that's the big connection. The uniform feel of original Dirty Pair feels like an extension of the film. You see that in the opening, which sets the tone of the Lovely Angels' adventures to come. Music video style cuts of Kei and Yuri looking stylish in pop art style geometric squares amidst a backdrop of colorful explosions of pastels and neons, ending with a majestic pan of the duo locked in at the camera as their hair billows in slow motion. The good animation, of course, is not front-loaded at the beginning. This isn't an American cartoon of the era after all. The Lovely Angels have never looked better as they do now with how these action scenes are drawn. While Project Eden and Nolandia also had their share of Sakuga, the fact that all the action scenes took place in similar Futurechrome hallways for most of the runtime hampered a lot of their potential. But now with the genre of the episode format, the Lovely Angels now have a greater variety of action scenes to show the boys what they're made of. This variety of action scene is best shown in the first episode. We begin with a large-scale prison riot to kick the plot off, followed by a unit of Space Marines assembling their space armor, which then gives way to the Lovely Angels breaching the prison by surfing on lava, and that all leads to a three-way shootout the Angels have with both the prisoners and the rogue warden who has taken over the security system, and it all comes to a head in the climax with a minecart chase sequence that has the Angels be forced to duck obstacles because the hover position was set too high. It's the first episode of 10, and already they're coming out swinging. This is what leads to action scenes that can range from grounded shootouts in a cemetery, to intense car chases through a jungle, to a comedic brawl in a casino, to a high-flying aerial battle on jetpacks against the goddamn Terminator, which people on the ground mistake for a fireworks show. People are dead! And tying everything together is masterful effects and explosion animation, the lifeblood of 80s Sakuga. They even really nailed down the small touches amidst the large skirmishes. In the aforementioned lava surfing, they show off a key character difference between Kei and Yuri, by having Kei effortlessly balance herself on her board, while Yuri is on all fours scared out of her mind. It shows us that, while they might be in sync most of the time, their skill set won't always overlap. A lot of the more active character action for the OVA can also be credited to the character designs. They're still being done by animation director Tsukasa Tokite, but they are really leaning hard into the Rumiko Takahashi influences here. Kei and Yuri feel way comic booky here than they have elsewhere, and it goes a long way for the more lighthearted and comedic portions in this anime.
あいついつまで走り続けるつもりかな。ケイのむちゃくちゃがやむまでよ。なあ、ぶつかる。
But don't think it's all smiles and sunshine for these angels. With the advent of having to deal with less broadcast regulations, not only do the angels get to show off more skin, but they are also far more explicit in murking dudes. We've seen them execute dudes before, but never in such a graphic capacity, like full-on busting headshots and domes. And thanks to the Dirty Pair production team being on a looser leash than they would have with a TV series, it serves not just the diversity in action scenes, but also storytelling. To reiterate, the strength of the Dirty Pair TV show was its ability to insert the lovely angels into almost any possible scenario effortlessly. This practice is continued here, the lovely angels going on adventures in different locales, situations, and genres. In one episode, they could be investigating a series of murders happening in a hyper-religious community and uncover that the god ordering these murders is a giant monstrosity of a computer, and in the very next episode, they have to thwart a group of 10-year-olds who have decided to pull a reverse toy soldiers and take over an important military outpost for kicks. It's impressive how they managed to cook up so many wild scenarios for the lovely angels to get into and make each adventure feel so self-contained. They almost feel like 25-minute movies with how much story feels jam-packed within them, something that's probably assisted by doing what a lot of other 80s anime were doing at the time and wearing their Hollywood influences on their non-existent sleeves. One episode has naked references to both The Godfather and The Graduate, and one episode you can clearly see a Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle in the crowd when all that existed of that franchise was the underground comic book. These animators have their fingers on the pulse, and they do all the genres they put the pair into so well. The second episode could have just been Kei and Yuri having to chase down a rogue T-800 all throughout Eleanor City in a Keystone Cops-like fashion, but screenwriter Yuichi Sasimoto took an extra step and made it all take place during Halloween and have the angels unknowingly thwart 4 separate heists at the same time. They even succeeded where Project Eden failed and pulled off a meaningful romance episode where Yuri ends up falling for the son of a notorious mob family whose counterfeiting operation the angels have been sent to bust up. She's clearly playing into an alter ego so that she can get in on the inside, but it's clear she's falling in love for him for real. And they do play into that chemistry so well that you almost believe Yuri will elope with him at the end.
まだ言ってるの？男と女の間に生まれなんて関係ないわ。
We have to give credit to the various directors who worked on each of these episodes, of which there were 5, including Yatabe himself. Famously, the thing people are probably gonna know original Dirty Pair for is giving future Cowboy Bebop creator Shinichiro Watanabe his big break as a director. Watanabe directed 3 episodes out of the 10, one of them being my personal favorite, the 9th episode, Red Eyes Are the Sign of Hell. Probably the grimmest adventure the lovely angels have found themselves in, having to hunt down a rogue death squad of soldiers who are killing people on both sides of the war to continue it indefinitely for an arms-dealing third party. And it turns out the soldiers are kidnapped military personnel from other armies brainwashed against their will to commit these horrific deeds. Apart from having some of the best action of the OVA series, the whole atmosphere is gritty and somber, as if the lovely angels were plucked out of their own series and plopped down into Armored Trooper Votoms. And you know what? It still works. With such flexibility, you would think that there's a lot of consistency with the episode quality. After all, with the same amount as a Netflix season, there's less incentive to phone it in, right? Well, there are a few questionable episodes. The casino episode is the weakest of the lot. Not only is the premise of Kei and Yuri infiltrating a casino as high-rolling gamblers a conceit that was done before in the series, but now most of the main conflict is spearheaded by Kei and Yuri getting catty with each other to an almost uncharacteristically aggressive way. Like, they'll snipe at each other from time to time, but I don't think they've ever come this close to actual blows.
ら失礼。随分と気前がおよろしいこと。たかがチップ、どうってことありませんわ。
And the 7th episode, another one done by Watanabe-san, has a good premise of Kei and Yuri hunting down an old rival from their training days in the seedy world of underground fighting, but because she's this roided out Amazon queen, there's an implicit body-shaming nature to this plot that doesn't really jive with me, especially since it flies in the face of previous Dirty Pair outings. And the final episode, where Kei and Yuri go on a space trucking adventure, kind of feels low-key compared to everything that came before. At least we know they're forklift certified. Still, all of the above are small complaints in the face of excellent quality that make up most of this OVA series. But does all of that make this peak Dirty Pair? Going back to both Project Eden and Nolandia once more with feeling. The big mark against both outings with the Lovely Angels is that they don't appear to play into their overall strengths as characters. Project Eden plays up their flightiness to their detriment while also splitting them up for half the runtime, while in Nolandia they just feel kinda there. Aside from some plot details that hint at their latent ESP powers, it could have been anyone on that journey. What the original Dirty Pair gets right is that it sends Kei and Yuri out on jobs that it knows only they can accomplish. The Lovely Angels are no doubt loose cannons who can wreak absolute havoc in trying to solve that day's case, especially emphasized here when this is one of the few anime works to acknowledge that their collateral damages do come with casualties attached.
惑星アルフィス暴走都市事件死傷者14万8000人 Z アリス事件死傷者2万3000人このお姉さんたちかなりのスケバンらしいよ
But that's the beauty of the OVA. It's a 10-episode romp that indulges Kei and Yuri's strengths both as problem solvers and characters. When you get down to brass tacks, the Lovely Angels are the ultimate do-gooders, taking down corrupt institutions like a giant shipping conglomerate shaking down local truckers, or creepy greedy arms dealers intent on prolonging a long and bloody civil war for profits. Even behind their seemingly shallow behavior that can sometimes make them come off as callous, Kei and Yuri despise corruption and those who seize power to abuse it.
お誰？世間には犯した罪を一生かけて償おうとしてる人間だっているのよ。あんたら最悪よ。警察官が悪事のし放題だなんて許せない。
And despite being technically part of one, they are not beholden to any institutions. In taking down a prison riot, they also are not suffering the misogynistic fools of the Space Marines sent in to provide them backup.
一緒に行くのは構わんが邪魔はしないでくれよ。遊園地へ行くのとはわけが違うんだからな。
これはまたご親切に。そんなこと言わなきゃいい男って言ってあげたのに。
Nor are they sympathetic to the warden they're supposed to rescue, who is currently throwing a temper tantrum over his perfect record being blemished before retirement.
あなたがやらなくたって海兵隊がやってくれるわ。出てきてよ。
裁判所の証人喚問なんてこの際どうだって今は私が裁判長なのだ。
それじゃ困るのよ。無理しても連れ出すわよ。
Kei and Yuri are not good people because they operate on the right side of the law. They are good people because they are good people. And another layer is added to this when you consider how unmistakably feminine they are in their presentation. They aren't trying to be one of the boys. They are pretty young ladies, and they are very proud and unashamed of that. Young being the key word here because they have absolutely zero maternal instincts, which can help them out. A group of dumb boys decided to take over a highly sensitive military base because they wanted to play soldier? That's a situation that calls for a big sister figure to come in and knock all their heads in for being so stupid.
俺たちを騙そうったってそうはいくかい。アホんだな。体張ってる女の言うことが信じられないんだったら男なんかやめちまいな。
Most importantly, original Dirty Pair reinvigorates the dynamic between Kei and Yuri that the previous film and OVA let languish. They are a true dynamic duo, absolutely inseparable. Despite some conflict between Kei's fiery temper and Yuri's flighty romanticism, they will always come through towards one another in the end. At the end of the wedding episode, Yuri has a nice parting with her would-be husband because she already has a partner that she cannot bear to leave, and that's Kei, showing that no man could ever come between the two of them.
なんだか当てられちゃったけど、あんたあいつになんて言ったの？あの言葉を信じるなんて言ってたけどさ。秘密。本気だったの。
Fixing the problem of Project Eden in more ways than you could think.
ああ、そんな言葉使ってると恋人もできないよ。 恋人はわざと作ってないの。
そうだったの。
You have something you would like to share with the class, Kei? For reminding us why the Lovely Angels work as well as they do with any story, and even building on the foundation given to them by the TV series, this is why I call Original Dirty Pair the peak of the classic era, and that era is about to draw to a close. With the final episode of the OVA, all that's going to be left of this era of Dirty Pair is one more movie. We've truly reached the summits, but what a beautiful sight there is to behold. Original Dirty Pair is the promise of Project Eden finally realized. The Lovely Angels are all styled in their glitziest and most glamorous sakuga the Japanese home video market can fund. Only now, they're the Lovely Angels we all know and love. For that, appreciation for this anime goes well beyond the superficial. After a few years of stumbling, it looks like Kei and Yuri are ready to go out on top. We can only hope there's no tripping at the finish line. So until next time, let's see our favorite agents of destruction off.
やったね。あげる。いらない。
Thank you all for watching. If you like this video or want to support this channel, please donate to my Patreon. Each dollar can give you early access to my videos as they come out, as well as keep the channel running a bit more smoothly. You can also subscribe to the channel, ring that bell for notifications, or just like this video. Either way, you'll be helping me out. That's all for now. See you for the next round of tapes.